very well said. I'm David Ross. I'm Jody's husband and father, Matthew and Michael. For most of you that know me, you know that I bleed black and gold. See some Steelers fans in the house today. I'm wearing a Flyer jersey because the last Philadelphia sports game we watched with Dad was seeing the Flyers beat the Islanders. Cheered on his hometown team to the very end. When they were talking about this, having the memorial and what they were going to do, I heard Mom and Jody trying to figure out what song to play. Mom said that Onward Christian Soldier was one of his favorites. But they weren't sure that was a good song for a memorial, so they passed on it. And that was always a favorite hymn of mine. And I thought, yeah, that'd have been a great day. And I even said, hey, I can get up there and sing a stanza myself. So I actually started practicing, singing it when I was alone, if I could actually pull this off. There's no lie. I recorded it on my phone, just hear how it sounds. It wasn't that bad, but I'm not going to burden with it. You all have to hear it. I think Dad heard it enough, and I may have even heard him say, hey, Dave, you don't have to do that. So anyhow, I do think it's a fitting song for Dad because it represents very well who he was as a man. He was a soldier, not a fighting soldier, but one that did carry the banner of Christ well. The stanza in the song says, see his banners go. I thought, what would John's banners have been on it per se? You know, you can't have one word that's sufficient to describe John Durham. But then I said, hey, you can have two sides, maybe two words. And if I had to pick those words, it would be kindness and selflessness. I don't need to get into why those words are fitting. If you knew John Durham, you knew why they're so appropriate. I want to share one thing that happened this past week. It was very touching to me, and it says better than how I could express how special and strong of a man John Durham was. Jason had a lot of friends in college that I've met, and hadn't spoken to several in many years, and I think any one of them could have done this. But one reached out to me this past week to check in and see how things were and find out what happened. He didn't want to burden Jason with everything going on, but he wanted to just understand, you know, was he sick? So we reminisced for a while about our memories from Jason and his college days. We played soccer with Jason, or hanging out a bit. But more so the solid impression that he had of Mr. Durham. A few things stood out that I will share with you and reflect on the character of Dad and the lasting legacy that he left. He said, one of the things he said was, one would be hard-pressed to find a truer indication of how great a man he was than by looking at how great his kids turned out. All super polite, respectful, and genuinely good people. You're a lucky man to have had him in your life for all those years. That is so true. I went on to tell him about Dad's last week and the battles he fought over the years, including living with the separated shoulder, Parkinson's, the melanoma, the kidney, the arthritis, etc., and how he never once complained. I told him at the end, I said, the man was a saint and a trooper through all of it. He never complained. I never heard him curse either. Even as he was dying, he was genteel and kind. Amazing. The next two words define John Durham, and this is what he sent me. In the text, Jesus man. Here's exactly what he said. Jesus man. Tears are flooding my eyes after reading that a few times. Thank you for the story. It just supported what I thought of him. Imagine having all of that and not once either complaining or burdening any of your closest loved ones. Absolutely gut-wrenchingly beautiful that most of the kids and grandkids were there to be with him on his final evening. My heart here hurts, and it goes out to all of you. The biggest shame was that all of this was placed upon the shoulders of such a good man. If there was ever anyone who could muscle through all of it and still be the same exact person, then it was Mr. Durham. In the future, after some time has passed, I plan on reaching out to Jason to learn some more about his dad. I knew him, but I never knew more than the superficial type stuff. I'm sorry, I just don't have the words. Actually, he did have the words. Jesus' name. First two things he said. That's who all Christians are called to be. And that's exactly who John Durham was. Like I said, I was privileged to have all those years with him in my life, and for being such a good, solid man, and for such a good example to look up to. One last thing I'll share. You know, often when loved ones pass, we see signs, you know, we look forward, we see signs from God. I know I saw them when my dad died, when I've seen other people pass. When Dad Durham passed and went to heaven, God sent a blanket of snow, which I saw as a sign so fitting for him because it reflected the beauty and the pureness of him as a man. God bless.